As usual, out of the blue, my bronze corys have laid eggs. This was totally unexpected, because they haven't had a water change, which would have triggered a spawning. But the tank, as you can see, there's loads and loads of eggs. What I've been doing, I've just been letting what eggs have been laid. I've just let grow on their own. Go through. There's only corys in here, and there's a few little ones and some adults. Now, what I've decided to do this time is to take the eggs out and bring them up separately. And what I'd like to do is to show you the way that I collect the eggs. And this is super simple, and you can basically you collect most of them. And what I'm using here is one of the little hang-on breeder boxes, but any perspex box that you can see the eggs, and it's big enough for them just to fall in. And what I've done, it's just leant against the glass, and how I'm removing the eggs is I'm just rubbing them, just rolling them on the glass, not putting any pressure on, and they will actually come off. Now this is a day after the eggs were laid, and I find that the eggs toughen up a little bit. If you do this on the first day when they've just been hatched, they're very, very fragile. You tend to damage them, but the day after doesn't seem to be a problem. I mean, cory eggs are very, very tough, but they're also very, very sticky. And, so as you can see, they've restuck to the perspex, but not to the level that they were before on the glass. I'm just taking them out now. I've already got another tank prepared, and this was fortunate. So my gimbal decided to do a little bit of a dance there. You can't quite see here, but I'm just dropping them in and making sure that all the eggs are out of the container. Now what I will do with this tank is I will put in a couple of drops of methylene blue just to keep any fungus at bay. Now the air stone, that's just also basically just to keep the water circulation and keep the eggs fresh. Now some people use tumblers. To be honest, I've never used them, and I've always found this way quite successful. Now there's a few eggs still stuck to the container, and shortly we'll get those out. But you'll find that they stick to your fingers, these eggs, as well. You don't always realise until you're pulled away. There we go. Now what I'm doing now is, I hadn't realised before I put them in, but I've taken the water level up too high. So I'm just reducing that level now, so that when we come with the next lot of eggs, we don't have a flooded tank. Now, talking about floods, there's a video that's coming up shortly, but we had a bit of an accident, and one of the tanks just constantly flooded. So we came on and there was water pouring. We have a little passageway underneath where we keep some of the tanks, and I got the water had poured through the floor, and I came home and basically there was water pouring from out of the ceiling of the passageway. And what the problem there was, it was the autofill, and a light was resting on the top of it, and of course the autofill was thinking that it still needed water. So as you can see here, what I'm doing, I'm just gently rubbing these eggs. Literally, there's no pressure, it's just a case of just rubbing them. And sometimes they're a little bit stubborn, and some other times they come off really, really easy. And then just, I seem to have missed one there, but don't know whether. Oh no, it was actually on the perspex, but yeah, I got some stuck to my fingers. So that's what I was just doing. Now we'll go down and we'll just get this in position. That's a few eggs stuck at the top. Before we go even lower, we'll just make sure that those are in the bottom of the container. These hang-on filters I find absolutely, they're really, hang-on breeders, not filters. They're a multitude of uses. Obviously this is one of them. The one that's supposed to be used for is obviously keeping baby fish in, or sick fish, but also you can just hang them on the outside of the tank, and if you want to have a close-up look at a fish, obviously you can put them in there and just have a really good close-up look, like a holding tank. But sometimes I just put it up, hook them on the front of the tanks, and use them while I'm bagging up fish for customers. Now I'm just the second lot of eggs just been put into the tank. There's one of my baby Corys at the back there, swimming around. Right, so we just position. The lower the eggs are, the harder it is to actually do this, but you still find that there's very few that you do lose. Now it's making it a bit awkward for me here because the camera's actually in the way. Because the gimbal has decided to do a walk. But just rubbing the eggs and they come off without a problem. Some people like to use a razor blade to get them off, others use a credit card to push them off. But this, it's gentle, it's soft, and the eggs come off without a problem. So I've just moved the sponge filter out of the way so that I've got room to get in, to get the back ones. So just two remaining clutches of eggs. Just get the top ones. These two came off really, really easy. But because it's a large container, the eggs, even though they move about, you catch most of them. just finishing off all the bottom ones, making sure that they're all in there. Now I will have lost a few, but it doesn't matter anyway, because the chances are that they will probably grow in this tank. There's plenty vegetation for them to hide. And there are already some really tiny fry in this tank. Sorry about my elbow being in the way. Now we should have most of the eggs now in the hatchery. What I'm going to do now, the water level has gone high again, so what I'm just going to do now is just bring the water level down and siphon it out into a container which I have, and once the wastewater container fills up, I have a sump pump that will pump it outside for me, and all my water is kept in a container, and then I use it in the garden and on the plants, and it's a really good fertiliser. So I just wipe down the front of the glass, and then we'll give you a close-up of the eggs. Now these eggs are about a day old, so they should start hatching in a couple of days. I mean, what day are we now? We're Monday, and this was they were put in there on Sunday, so possibly Tuesday morning or some point on Tuesday we should actually see these eggs hatch. And take care, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Thank you.